Hey lovelies, I am super excited for today's video because I am finally trying out the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation and their brand new Bounce Concealer. So we're doing a little first impressions wear test today. I have had the Bounce Foundation on my bucket list to try ever since it launched and I just had not gotten around to getting it. So I'm really excited to finally have it, and now we also have the concealer to go hand in hand with it. So I was very kindly gifted these, which I appreciate so much. But as always, all thoughts and opinions are 100% genuine and my own, regardless of whether it's gifted, purchased myself, or sponsored. So I'm very excited to get stuck into giving these a whirl. So let's just get into it. So I've got my iPad here. I'm just going to read you a little bit about the actual foundation. They say it's a weightless full coverage foundation that comes in 40 shades. It has a velvet matte finish and it's a lightweight buildable formula. So it's going to apparently help even out your overall tone and apparently help with your skin texture. And they say it doesn't matter how little or how much you apply, the whip liquid glides on and bounces easily, so it never looks cakey or fake. Alright, so the concealer details. Conceal, brighten and smooth with this weightless full coverage concealer, which offers major pigment payoff to knock out dark circles, which I need because I have very dark under eye circles. It's got a boost of hyaluronic acid and illuminating pigments to help hydrate and brighten the skin throughout the day. It's a 3-in-1 long wear formula which can be used to conceal, contour and highlight. Also, you can use it for your contour too if you've got a darker shade. So a little bit about my skin type. I'm kind of like a bit confused exactly what my skin type is because I have been told conflicting information from different therapists, beauty therapists and stuff, and industry professionals. But the one thing that's consistent is I do have a little bit of a dehydrated skin type. I like really hydrating moisturizers and primers, but when it comes to foundations, I do prefer a velvet matte finish. So I'm not one to love dewy, and I don't like crazy mattifying foundations anymore either. So I like something just in the middle. And I feel like my skin is very much like in the middle. I actually felt like over the last 12 months, my skin's become a little bit more normal, where it's not like crazy dry, but it's not crazy oily, and I don't really have like either or, but apparently I have dehydrated skin. So do with that information whatever you will. Just sort of give you guys a little bit of a background, so if you're interested in trying, you kind of can gauge what my skin type personally is. So I ended up getting the shade 2.20 in the foundation. Now this should technically be the perfect color to match my fake tan. I used their foundation matching system to get this shade, and I actually put in my Fenty shade, which is 190. So I'm going to swatch them next to each other just to see how similar they are. And also I don't have like a super dark fake tan at the moment. As you can see, like I've got none on my face because I had that face peel, so I didn't bother tanning my face. It's a frosted glass bottle, and then it has this dispenser on the front. So you're meant to be able to press this button and dispense the foundation down the front of the actual packaging. BRB, my mum's calling. Hello?
Oh my God, and in your honour,
Yeah?
I'm making you a pot of stew tonight.
Yes.
And I will also make you a pot of fucking vegetable soup too.
Oh, thanks, Mum.
I know, you're fucking lucky.
Alright, so where was I? So the packaging. So the way it's designed is the actual front of it. You're meant to be able to dispense the foundation and then use your blender to tap into the actual product. So I really like that because if you guys follow me and watch my tutorials, you know I dispense my foundation onto any hard surface I can find. So this is going to be fun to play with. And then the concealer, I got the shade 140N. I always like to get a concealer lighter than my foundation so that I can highlight my face. Oh, it does look considerably lighter. A lot lighter, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Actually, it's probably a good thing that it's a fair bit lighter because I'll be able to balance out the foundation shade since it's probably going to be too dark. So let's dispense this. I don't want it to squirt all over my camera, but I want to like obviously get the shot, you know. Oh, okay, cool. It looks quite thick. I'll just do one little pump because I'm going to swatch it next to my Fenty to see what the color similarities are like. So I'm just going to do Fenty on this side, bounce on this side. Oh, it's quite a thick foundation. Okay, so the bounce one is definitely more yellow. So this is Fenty and this one is bounce. So Fenty on this side, bounce on this side. So they are definitely different shades, like they're not the most perfect match. I just wanted to swatch them just so you guys can see the comparison, like when you use the shade matcher. So I'm going to use my favorite primer, which is the Too Faced Hangover primer. This is my #1 must-have primer. So whenever I'm doing foundation reviews, I always like to use this particular one with the foundation because I just know this primer works really well for me. I'm going to go ahead and just dab my blender and we're just going to start applying it. Okay, so that first layer feels and looks beautiful. Oh wow. So I'm going to try build up a little bit more coverage, like where I have some blemishes. So I have this little scar down here from a pimple that's recovering. So I'm going to try and build up the foundation a little bit around that area. I'm really enjoying that based off first impressions. That has really like flawed out my skin while still allowing my skin to look like skin. So it doesn't look cakey or anything. Wow. I can definitely still see like some of my redness peeking through, and I use those first 2 little pumps entirely. So I'm going to do another 2 pumps for the other side of my face. I really like the consistency of it when it's wet, like it's quite thick. But I like that because it means it's not like absorbing into the sponge too much and it's not super runny. So we'll see how it covers up this side of my face. This side has more redness than this side does. So that's just with 1 layer on that side. Wow, that covered up that redness quite well. Okay, Beauty Blender, I am impressed. Just down the front of my neck. It's actually nearly a perfect match for what color my tan is right now. So when I'm super fake tan, it probably won't actually match me. I think it might be a little bit too yellow. I am very, 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 very impressed with how this feels on the skin. This feels beautiful. So the foundation does definitely get a little bit caught in the opening. But if we're totally honest, whose foundations are like immaculate? Because all the foundations I use, they always have dirty pumps. So it's kind of just the equivalent of having a dirty pump, I think. So I don't think that's that much of a big deal. So now I'm going to go ahead and try the concealer. I've heard amazing things about this. I love the packaging of it, how it's got like the pink base. I think that's really pretty. Also, I can't smell like any fragrance with the foundation either. Ooh. Ooh, the doe foot is so different to any other concealer I've ever used. How different is that? I mean, look, the foundation is already blowing my mind, so I hope the concealer does too. So I'm just going to start by bringing it under my eyes. Ooh, she's thick. So that concealer is definitely too light for me. This would probably work with me when I've got like no fake tan on, but I've just popped some of it on my chin to try and help balance it out. So we're just going to go ahead and blend it all out. It blends easily. The color of the concealer is definitely putting me off a little bit because it's a little bit too light, but we're just gonna roll with the punches and just see how it goes. It does blend really well, and I do think it does have great coverage based on first impressions. But if she wears well, I would definitely be grabbing a darker shade. Okay, so I'm just going to use some translucent setting powder to set my under eyes. And hopefully that might kind of dull down the brightness a lot. At least you know it's brightening though, right? Like very brightening. Definitely the wrong shade. Just got to keep reiterating that. It's definitely the wrong shade, but we'll try set it with some translucent powder and see if that might help settle it down a little bit. Now I believe I do actually have some brushes in here too. I do. These brushes look so interesting. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's like a powder brush, but then it has a metal thing on the end. Wow. So that's the powder brush and that's the metal thing on the end. Also, just for a little time check-in too, it is 11:28. So I'm starting this a little bit late, but it's 11:28 in the morning. It says, meet the double-ended powder brush that never makes you look overdone. An innovative, cooler rollerball tip sculpts and defines and depuffs, so the skin appears prepped and lifted before makeup application. Oh, so you use that on your face before you do your makeup. Just going to lightly set the rest of my face. And surprisingly, the concealer looks much more tame now too. Okay, so this is what my powdered base is looking like. She's pretty bloody flawless. Like, my skin looks real good. I really don't feel like I can fault it right now. I think it looks really nice. My makeup's ever so slightly cakey around my nostrils, but I feel like it always is. I find it very hard to get my foundation in around my nostrils without it being cakey. If you guys know how to solve that issue, make sure you let me know. But overall, I think it looks really good. That concealer looks super brightening under my eyes. I think when I use it again, I'll probably still use some peach corrector on my very dark parts of my under eye circles because they're just so hard to cover. But I feel like right now I've sort of got like Tarte Shape Tape level of coverage. So I'm not mad about it. I don't know guys, but at the moment, first impressions, I'm really enjoying it. So we'll just see how it wears throughout the day. Alright lovelies, I am back with a full face of makeup. It's after 1:30 now. I've been taking photos, but also I did have a doozy with my eye makeup today. My liner and lashes played me so hard. I kept stuffing up my liner and then I had to reapply my lashes like 3 times. It was not a good eye makeup day, but it eventually all came together. But the eye makeup is not the focus. The skin is. And girl, when I tell you my skin looks like butter, she looks like butter. I'm hoping you can see how flawless it looks. I am a little bit shook. I wasn't expecting it to be this amazing on my skin, to be honest. And I think it's because over the last like year and a half, I have seen a lot of really mixed reviews and opinions on this foundation. But girl, she's flawless on my skin. I'm so impressed. The coverage is beautiful. In around my nose, like my nostrils where it was a little bit cakey, I simply just got my sponge and patted out after I'd finished doing the rest of my makeup and actually made it 10 times better. So even around my nose, it's looking really good right now. Off camera, I just obviously applied my contour, blush, highlight, eye makeup, brows. I didn't touch the base any other times, like I didn't repowder. I haven't used setting spray, nothing like that. And it just, I'm actually a bit shook. The concealer is also beautiful so far. It's wearing really well. I feel like it's covered that super dark pigmentation I get on the inner portions of my eyes here really well. It has settled ever so slightly in these really deep lines I have that are directly under my lashes, but that's no biggie because when I've got mascara on, you can't see it anyway. It'll be interesting to see if it settles into the fine lines I get around my eyes at the end of the day. I'm going to keep you guys posted. I'll give you like a quick look at my skin with the lights down, just so you can see it's not like the lights blurring out. My face, it just literally looks airbrushed. I am so impressed. So I shall check back in with you guys before I go to mum's for dinner probably, so closer to 6 o'clock, and we'll see how she's wearing. Hey lovelies, so I've had this makeup on for about 5 hours now and it's wearing really well. I feel like my forehead is ever so slightly shiny. I have blown my nose a couple of times, so I do feel like it has slightly patched off around my nostrils and it's maybe a little slightly creased where like I've been scrunching my nose when I was blowing it. With the under eye concealer, I feel like it's wearing really quite well. I feel like it has settled a little bit more in those fine lines under my lower lash line, but it hasn't settled in those crow's feet yet. So that's a good sign. That's a really good sign. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more editing and yeah, I'll check back in at the 8-hour mark and to show you guys what it looks like then. But so far, 5 hours in, still 10 out of 10 from me. I'm really enjoying how it's wearing. It's very comfortable. And I think it just still looks flawless still. Alright guys, it is 20 to 9. I've had this foundation on officially for over 8 hours. And she's looking really good considering. I'm definitely a little bit shinier than what I would love. And my sideburns are stuck to my face. So I'm definitely like a bit shiny on my forehead especially. If I hadn't have been filming a first impressions, I probably would have actually powdered my face like at the 5-hour mark. And it will probably be a little bit better now. And also if I was wearing, like if I was actually doing my makeup and I knew I was going to be wearing it for 8 hours, I would also usually use a setting spray like the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. It has started creasing under my eyes in the last like couple of hours. It's definitely a little bit more creased than when we touched base last, and even my line is transferring to my eyelids, so my face is definitely a little bit greasy, but overall I feel like it is worn really beautifully and It hasn't really broken up like around my mouth or around my cheeks or anything like that. And although I'm a little bit dewy and a little bit oily, I feel like the coverage has stayed intact. Like it hasn't blotched off. Some foundations I find they can sort of like fade away throughout the day, and this definitely has not. I'm very, very impressed with how it's worn. All in all, I'm very, very impressed, and I think this is definitely going to be a foundation and concealer I actually reach for fairly often. I really, really, really have enjoyed trying it out today. I'm going to get the concealer in a darker shade because it is a little bit too light, I feel like, for me to use regularly with this color foundation. It'll be great for me when I don't have any fake tan on. Very brightening, wore reasonably well, I feel like, under my eyes. Definitely great coverage. Ever since discovering Tarte Shape Tape, I've found it very hard to find a concealer that is comparable when it comes to coverage and staying power and everything, and I think this definitely is up there in the Tarte Shape Tape league for concealer. So I would highly recommend checking out both of them. I think they're both beautiful, and I'm going to definitely keep using them and trying them out, but first impressions, I really can't complain. They've done right by me in today's video, that's for sure. So if you guys found this review and first impressions helpful, then please be sure to give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment section how you thought it wore on my skin. Did you like it? Do you think it looks nice? Of course, subscribe if you guys aren't already, and I'll be chatting to you guys in the comment section and in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.